On to question 3. It would be considered uncontroversial to put up a statue or monument to Voltaire, Rousseau, or Thomas Paine on federal property or the state capitol. Why should it be forbidden to put up a similar statue of Moses or Jesus, who may have had a far greater impact on our society and laws than the secular figures just mentioned? Dinesh, 4 minutes.
Well, since it's my question, I find the logic of it impeccable. In other words, the question encapsulates the argument I've been trying to make. Namely, if we're talking, for example, about the U.S. Capitol, as you know, groups like the ACLU have always been suing and saying, let's take down the 10 Commandments. Here's the statue of Moses. Let's get it down. He's a religious figure. He doesn't really belong in the public square. So my question says, all right, let's say somebody would have proposed putting up Tom Paine in the public square or Voltaire in the public square. Obviously, we would begin by debating the merits of having that particular statue, that particular symbol. What impact did Tom Paine have on America? Was it a greater impact than, say, Martin Luther King? Should we have somebody else instead? But never would it occur to someone to say that because of Tom Paine's anti-religious convictions, he should be removed from the public square. No one would think to say automatically that Voltaire constitutionally is prohibited from being in the public square. We would want to debate whether we want to have the guy or no. On the other hand, if you put a religious proposal, and I mentioned Moses or Jesus, I think historically we would have to say that Moses and Jesus have done 20 times more to shape Western civilization, to shape American sensibilities, mores, law, culture, morality, than, let's say, Voltaire. But nevertheless, people like the ACLU and perhaps Susan would be out there saying there's something inappropriate, there's something unconstitutional about this should be removed. And all I'm saying is that this is a shocking double standard that itself demands rational justification. You can't simply chant separation of church and state and declare the matter settled. What we're trying to figure out is why we have a prejudice against religious figures who have had an historical, moral, political, and even lawful impact, while we don't have that prejudice against secular figures similarly situated. So I'd like Susan to explain why the double standard.
First, though, I'd like to point out that if the 10 Commandments really were, or their ideas in the 10 Commandments, really were the basis of American law, as the Christian right constantly asserts, and I'm not saying Mr. D'Souza.